Okay, so today I'm going to clean the air intake on this car. It was suggested by a fellow YouTuber that if the throttle body has dirt and grime inside, that will cause it to, or I should say, allow it to leak air into the manifold or the plenum or whatever the hell I think it's called. And cause problems like what I'm seeing. So I'm going to try that next. I'm going to try taking this apart, cleaning the throttle body, and retesting. Notice that the battery's disconnected for this. If you don't disconnect the battery, you'll have to do a idle relearn. I may have to do an idle relearn anyway, but for sure disconnecting the battery before you clean this. All right, so let me continue. Okay, look what I found when I took this off. Somebody that I hired to work on this car didn't put this on right. And so that's why it's leaking. Unbelievable. This has been the problem the whole time. Well, I'm still going to clean it. And I may have to replace that, actually. That looks pretty bad. I'll try to salvage it. But yeah, somebody put that on wrong. And I know who did it, so I will fix that. And this doesn't look too bad, but I will clean it anyway. Be right back. Okay, I've got this back together. It's not perfect because the rubber has been malformed from time and exposure to heat, but I do believe it's sealed. You can see where it's buckled under there, right there. So I couldn't get the clamp to go into its little slot, but I think it's going to work. Now, I'm a little surprised when I was spraying the cleaner around everything that it didn't suck into that spot and cause an engine RPM to change. You know, I was looking for leaks, and I was convinced there were none. So this is on me. I missed that, but it's not on me that happened. I hired a local guy, local company, I should say, to replace the valve cover gasket, which I knew wasn't bad, but they said it was, and also to replace this O-ring for the camshaft position sensor. They didn't do that. I had to do that myself after the fact, and I'm not convinced they did this either. But they said they replaced the valve cover and the gasket, and changed the oil and washed the engine, and that was like $400 or $500. I forget exactly, somewhere between $400 and $500. And yeah, so they did that. When they were messing around with the car, they did that when they were looking for leaks or whatever. So that's when my problem started, was shortly after that, after getting that done. Makes sense, timeline's right. I can be pissed about it, but there's not much I can do now because that was like over a year ago, maybe even 2 years. So anyway, let me get this back together and see what happens. Okay, I checked the computer, hooked up my scanner to the computer, I should say, and the fuel trims are beautiful, looking great at 0.8%, so that's right where I would like to see it. All this time, that's all it was. I replaced a bunch of shit unnecessarily, so if you have this problem, check that, especially if someone else worked on your car. Check to make sure there's no leak right there. You would think it'd run worse than it did, but I guess it had symptoms that I just wasn't paying attention to. Now, I did clean the intake, and I would say it did need to be cleaned. It was a little grummy, probably because that thing was wide open and all the crap was being sucked in there. But it's running good. I replaced some stuff that didn't need to be replaced, but I've replaced some stuff that did need to be replaced. This car is running great. Catalytic converter wasn't that expensive. I bought a aftermarket one. So, and you know, it makes that weird smell when the catalytic converter's working right. So I know the old one was shot. It was not making that smell. It does now with this new one. I'm fixing to go take this a drive around the block, just drive it around, try to get the smog checks where I can take this in and get it inspected. If you don't know, there are 6 smog checks that need to be established before you can get it inspected, but in the state of Texas, you only have to have 5 of the 6. They will pass emissions if 5 of the 6 are in the ready status. If there's 2 or more though that aren't ready, then you have to drive the car, and sometimes it takes as much as 50 miles of driving to get things to reset. Just depends on your car, I guess. Now this car should get ready real quick because everything's been replaced. Not much left to say about this. I still do need to put together the insides of the car. I'm going to go ahead and put the original computer back in. So I'll take the new one out and put the old one back in so the VINs match. And I got to put all the paneling and all that crap back in the glove compartment. So let me drive it. Oh, also, this car is going to idle a little high probably because I did the idle reset with that gaping hole in the intake. So I'm going to have to redo the idle relearn after the car gets up to temperature. I'll be back. Okay, so I put the old computer back in, and immediately I noticed that the short-term trims at idle was 10%. That's better than it was. You know, it was at 20+%, but 10% is still too high. But I thought to myself, well, maybe it just needs to relearn its environment. So I took the car, I drove it on the freeway for about 10-15 miles, and I throw a P0420 error again, where it's complaining about the catalytic converter being inefficient. So now I'm starting to think, since the new computer was 0.8%, you know, close to 0% at idle on the short-term fuel trims, I gotta conclude that maybe the old computer does have a problem. So now I'm back to putting the new computer in, and I'll test drive it with the new computer and see if that solves the problem. Drive it on the freeway, see if I get the P0420. Also see if all the smog checks get set to where I can take this in for an inspection. So this has been a very frustrating thing for me, but I'll be putting the new computer in again here. I've already got the battery disconnected. So what else can I say about this? When I put the original computer back in, the keys did not work. I had to reprogram the keys again, which I didn't think I had to. That wasn't clear to me that was going to be the case, but it is. So after I put the new computer back in, I'll have to reprogram the keys. I'll be back. Okay, just got through installing the new computer and programmed the key for it, started it up, checked the numbers, and now this one is giving me 10% short-term trim at idle. I'm still seeing no voltage change on the bank 2 at idle. Well, actually, not just at idle, but at revving. When I rev it, the voltage doesn't change from 0.28 volts. So now I'm going to put the original computer back in, program the keys. This time I'm leaving it in there. And I'm going to replace the downstream O2 sensor again. This is really frustrating, but at least I didn't put it all back together multiple times and take it apart multiple times. I basically just insert the new computer, and I'm going to be doing it one more time, putting the original computer back. All right, well, this is going to conclude today's work on this 2006 Altima. I don't know. It seems like when the engine is cold, the short-term fuel trims are correct. It's approximately 0%. But if you try to do this hot, then it levels off at about 10%. The backstream or downstream O2 sensors are not registering anything but 0.28 volts. That's it. That's all you ever get. You can sit there and idle or rev the engine up to 3,000 RPM or 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. It doesn't matter. That voltage does not change. So I gotta believe that the sensor number 2, bank 1 sensor 2, has gone bad. So I'm going to reach out to A1 Auto to see if they'll send me another one. They have a lifetime warranty. The first one gave me trouble, but I don't think it was actually bad. They sent me one for that. But this one, I don't know, the voltage isn't changing. I'm not getting any errors, so it's not going to be a voltage problem. It's getting the voltage for the heater. It's just not working. So I guess I'll get that part in probably within a week or so, and then I'll be back on this and we'll have another video.